Hello everybody, please don't adjust your sets. This isn't Father Christmas, it's Fr Gerard for our Maranatha, Come Lord Jesus. I'm wearing red as red symbolises martyrs.
A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were in Bethlehem and in all its districts, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had determined from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted, because they are no more.
Today, the Holy Innocent is a difficult day for us to understand, so I'd like to share with you a passage that was written in the 16th century. The Holy Innocents are the children who were slaughtered at the order of King Herod, in the hope that by killing every born boy in Bethlehem at the same time as Jesus, he would successfully be killing the newborn king of the Jews. There was nothing about those baby boys that made them deserve death. Look at one of them. You can see that he had no chance to do anything, or to be anyone, or to become anyone. He had done nothing. He had done nothing bad. He had done nothing good. He was born, and then he died, and that was all there was to him. So passive are these babies that some people find it hard to understand how they can share the title of martyrs with people like St. Stephen, the day before yesterday, who inspired on preaching the truth until his hearers stoned him for it, or St. Thomas à Becket tomorrow, who insisted on living the truth until his king had him killed because of it. These children did not insist on anything except their mother's milk, and unlike Stephen and Thomas, they were not voluntary acts of theirs that we can make the difference between being martyred and not being martyred. So, in our radical human terms, these children are a puzzle, and that is one of the reasons why God has inspired the Church to celebrate this very feast, to show us how inadequate our seemingly rationally worldly wise thoughts are. As he reminds us again and again throughout salvation history, his thoughts are not our thoughts. Babies may not rank high on the scale as far as our human calculus is concerned, but neither do sparrows, and yet God has told us that God sees and counts every one of those. The Holy Innocents can stand, therefore, for the unimportance and unnecessary pawns, children and adults alike, that permeate the whole of human history, the ones that can be sanctified for a greater cause, because they don't really matter, the eggs that were broken to make an omelette, or even broken to make nothing at all. There are plenty of them, one way or another. The Feast of the Holy Innocents reminds us that in God's eyes, that is, according to the true value of things, no one is unimportant. No one is unnecessary. No one doesn't really matter. How meaningless their lives and death may seem to us, they shine in the glory of heaven. On a personal level, the honour given to the Holy Innocents reminds us that if we suffer or even die for God's sake, it has value, even if it has little or no say on ourselves. Honouring them effectively honours also the martyrdom of the people, these children who could have been, and the children's children as well, and at the same time we can remember the contemporary and continued massacre of those who died before birth, for the convenience of those who have killed them.
Refugee. We think of him as safe beneath the steeple or cosy in a crib beside the font. But he is with 1 million displaced people on the long road of weariness and want. For even as we sing our final carol, his family is up and on that road, fleeing the wrath of someone else's quarrel, glancing behind and shouldering their load. Whilst Herod rages still from his dark tower, Christ clings to Mary, fingers tightly curled. The lambs are slaughtered by the men of power, and death squads spread their curse across the world. But every Herod dies and comes alone to stand before the Lamb upon the throne.
We think of him as safe beneath a steeple, or cozy in a crib beside the font. But he is with 1 million displaced people on the long road of weariness and want. For even as we sing our final carol, the hounded child is up and on that road, fleeing from the wrath of someone else's quarrel, glancing behind and shouldering their load, and shouldering their load. Still from his dark tower, Christ clings to Mary with fingers tightly curled. The lambs are slaughtered by the men of power, and death squads spread their curse across the world. How terrible, how just, and how ironic that every Herod dies and comes alone, defenseless as the naked embryonic, to stand before the Lamb upon the throne. The Lamb